The entire Duggar family suffered greatly as a result of Josh Duggar's incarceration. The house that used to be. The clamor of kids laughing and running through the hallways has completely subsided. Every image on the wall served as a reminder of the items that had been removed. And every nook and cranny of the house held a memory. Michelle Duggar prayed every morning, her hands shaking as she asked for forgiveness. Jim Bob was adamant that his son had to be able to be brought home. Consequently, he spent his evenings trying to find answers. The family had always emphasized faith and unity, but now they were finding it harder and harder to uphold. The congregation turned their heads away. It was normal for friends to avoid each other. The Diggers, who were formerly revered as a model of faith and family, were silently condemned. The majority of the blame fell on Anna Duggar. Being left to raise her kids by herself, she approached each day with composure and determination. Even though she could see the pain in her husband's eyes, she remained steadfast in her faith and her vow to support him no matter how terrible things became. She brought letters, drawings of family members, and an unsaid wish that the walls would someday fall away with her as she made the difficult weekly trek to the prison. Every visit concluded with a false grin, tears, and the long, silent drive back to the car. The youngest children in the Duggar household were naturally interested in knowing when their father will be home. There was no easy solution. The elders sidestepped the subject, saying that silence was more powerful than words. The holidays were nearly intolerable. We ate half of our meals, and we prayed a lot. The family remained together despite everything that transpired. Behind the scenes, Jim, Bob, and Michelle started contacting lawyers, religious leaders, and other people who were open to the idea of second chances. In the dark, prayers were muttered, requests were sent, and letters were scribbled. Anna was determined not to give up. She was strong because of her faith. Instead of denial, she thought forgiveness would bring salvation to the family. Her steadfast commitment became a symbol of perseverance. Despite criticism, inquiries, and rejection, the Duggars persisted in their fight for restoration rather than celebrity. They believed that grace might be found even in the most gloomy valley. The agony started to give way to a feeling of purpose as the months stretched into years. Despite their injuries, the family came together once more. Through unwavering faith, the once broken love started to gently and steadily mend. Despite all of the arguments, one thing never changed. Even in the most dire circumstances, a spark of optimism, no matter how small, can shine. As far as the Duggars were concerned, time passed slowly. Every month seemed to bring a fresh challenge to faith and a reminder that optimism needed to struggle to survive. Jim would say or do everything to appease Bob Duggar. In the seclusion of their family's home, they started making preparations. We analyzed documents, filed appeals, and had conversations with lawyers. After everything was taken away, the family that had formerly proclaimed their convictions from pulpits was now learning how to live out their faith. There was an increasing chorus of doubters. The price of loyalty, whispered the neighbors. While some online users ridiculed the family's pleas, others brought up past scandals. The Duggars, anyway, were uncompromising. They were battling for a second opportunity after damaging their reputation. Michelle Duggar completely avoided the spotlight after that. Her prayers, her confidence in God, and the future of her kid had become her whole world. In order for the humble and repentant man to rise again, she prayed to God to transform him and release him. Anna Duggar subtly supported the family's endeavors, records, court proceedings, and she spent her days teaching her kids to have faith in God instead of fear. She made lunch and studied the Bible during her lunch break day, while bravely and silently bearing the burden of condemnation that fell upon everyone. Despite their diminutive size, the children sensed the effort. Before they could fully enjoy life as children, they had to learn to have faith and be patient. Family dinners were never depressing. They merely grew more private and infrequent. Outside, help started to reappear. A few of priests, old acquaintances, and family supporters stepped up to highlight the sin and the potential for forgiveness. They emphasized to everyone that mercy was given, not earned. Legal applications were submitted to the state from within the Duggar household. Numerous boxes and files were stuffed with reform testimony, review requests, and letters of recommendation. Jim was reading case files and working on remarks that might be a first step toward freedom. Bob worked through the night. Anna continued her visits to people. She never missed a single one. No matter how often she visited or how brief or cold those trips were, her heart remained the same. She stayed. She had faith. She showed forgiveness several times. Even though the world had changed, the Duggars kept praying. Just a single family hoping for a different tomorrow. There were rumors that the last appeal was being examined. The Duggar house had not had light for years. Weak and unsteady, hope turned back to the faces that were no longer able to smile. Michelle once again redecorated their father's living room. The kids posted letters because they knew she would soon be enjoying a miracle or going through another sorrow. Anna stood looking out at the horizon from the doorway. But the waiting seemed different this time. They have come this far because of their unshakable faith. The final obstacle to their fate and salvation was on the horizon. The Duggar family had arrived to this point after years of patience, innumerable prayers, and innumerable solicitations. Once quiet and heavy with grief, the house suddenly buzzed with an inexplicable sense of stress, similar to the tension that permeates a whole house right before a life-altering event. Jim Bob went over all the documents before he signed off. His hands trembled not with fear but with the weight of hope. Before going to bed, Michelle laid her battered Bible next him, its pages tattered from years of prayer. This morning, there wasn't much family conversation. Talking seemed pointless. Each breath, each exhale, each look, each pulse was a prayer in itself. Anna stood with her kids clinging to her by the window of the living room. Her damaged heart still shows the emotional toll of living with doubt for so long. Under the surface of the fear, however, there was a subdued confidence that forgiveness, faith, and patience might be the game changer. This was the result of weeks of gathering testimony, consulting with lawyers, and completing legal papers. The place was absolutely silent. The Duggar family learned to bear their burden in silence, despite the doubts and criticism of many. They were no longer depressed by the hum of the world. The entire family reminisced about the years spent indoors. The kids, some of whom were still too young to comprehend completely, had become hostile. They had discovered that dedication, love, and faith were more resilient than hopelessness, loneliness, and condemnation. Every family member has a daily ritual of preparation. A few simply shut down, while others knelt in silent protest. The silent optimism they all silently expressed was the long-sealed door of restoration would eventually reopen. Slowly, the time went by. The clock remained important as the seconds went by. Supporters and distant relatives sent letters, but no one ever opened them. The family understood the moment would come and go at its own pace, and no amount of preparation could make it any less exciting. When the announcement eventually came, everyone in the room was on the edge of their seats. Jim Bob carefully opened the packet to brace herself for the emotional tsunami she didn't want to reveal too soon. As Michelle put her hand on his arm, she felt the security of her children's loving hug. Anna curled up against them. Its wording was succinct but indisputable. The strong link among the family allowed for the achievement of seemingly impossible goals. Months of intense prayer and hard work. Their transgressions have been atoned for. The long-awaited freedom was now within reach. At first, tears came gently, letting go of long-suppressed anguish, hope, and worries. Grins slowly appeared. First mild, then more powerful. The kids gave each other hugs. Michelle closed her eyes and surrendered to a sense of relief she had always believed was unattainable. Jim Bob takes a deep breath, letting go of the strain that has accumulated over the years, and his shoulders relax for the first time in years. In addition to the immense joy of reunion, Anna experienced the well-known ache of tiredness. Years of tenacity, commitment, and faith culminated in this one moment. After being fostered in secret for many nights, the long-awaited promise at last materialized. The family immediately noticed the change. Josh's return was hours away, but a new beginning, unsure yet unquestionable, was imminent. We have survived the darkest times with patience, love, and trust. When Josh's welcome home day arrived quietly and without much fanfare, there was a lot of emotion in the Duggar household. Years of isolation, pain, and unwavering hope culminated in one very important event.